And I think this is actually the problem on the conservative front, broadly across the world, is that they're people of solid character, but they're not good at articulating the foundations of their ethos. And then when the radical leftists come along and take them apart ethically, they don't know what to do. They throw up their hands.
Ruslan.
You know, you hear certain things and you're like, that spoke to my soul. I've been thinking, feeling this way, but someone else articulated it better.
Yeah.
The collaboration we didn't know we needed, but definitely needed, happened. That is Jordan Peterson sitting down with Dave Ramsey.
Dr. Dave Ramsey.
And Jordan Peterson makes, I think, one of the best points I've heard that Christians need. I think this will speak life to us in a major way.
A psychologist rather than a lawyer or a politician, which is kind of where I was heading at that point in my life. And I realized that it was the people who had built productively that had the moral upper hand. They might not have been very good at expressing their ethos intellectually or explicitly, but in terms of their character, they had established a victory. And I think this is actually the problem on the conservative front, broadly across the world, is that they're people of solid character, but they're not good at articulating the foundations of their ethos. And then when the radical leftists come along and take them apart ethically, they don't know what to do. They throw up their hands.
He said the people that have the moral upper hand are the people that have built something, built businesses, but they don't know how to properly articulate their ethos. And so the intellectuals on the far left will then deconstruct and pick everything apart. And the people that are actually providing the value to the world, providing the economic value, the economic output, the jobs, the careers, the stability in the homes with the marriages and the families that lead people to flourish and function, don't know how to articulate their value.
I mean, think about it this way. Someone comes up to you on the street and says, justify marriage.
Can you justify marriage, Zach?
I would probably point to I would probably have a bunch of fake sites. Oh man, studies have shown, Gallup for sure has shown that the less amount of partners you've had before you get married, you're more successful.
But we had to workshop that. We had to workshop that by going in and debating the red pillars.
Exactly.
Right?
If you get married, you're more likely to make more money, be statistically more happy.
Yep. Less mental health issues, less likely to delete yourself. Yep.
And you think, well, I thought we sorted that out like 25,000 years ago. You don't know what to say. You have no idea how to justify marriage. You know, a lot of the things we do in our life that are ethical, we act out. We don't think through. Like, I presume the vast majority of you put up a Christmas tree. Well, you have no idea why. You know, like, and if someone, anthropologist, came over to your house and said, well, why do you put up a Christmas tree? You'd say, well, everyone does it. Something like that, and it's beautiful and it's part of a tree, but you have no idea why. I mean, there are reasons for the Christmas tree. That's a place where you put the light that shines in the darkness at the darkest time of the year. And that light signifies, in the Christian tradition, that light signifies Christ, and that signifies the service of the highest to the lowest. And you're acting that out, but you don't know it. And when you're married, you're acting out of...
I'm going to say that to my family every time we put up a Christmas tree.
We talk about it. We do a whole thing and we explain.
With your family?
Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't hit that stage yet.
Yeah, we unpack it all and we read the...
Kids, you know why we put up a Christmas tree? That's what you do?
We read the entire month of December. You read a different devotional. Advent. We do Advent.
Yep.
Yeah,
Advent
absolutely.
calendar.
So yeah, we do explain it all. We put the star up. Yeah, we explain all of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, this year I'm going to sit down with my family.
You should absolutely do Advent.
And I'm gonna go, oh, the reason we put up the tree is to put up a bright light at the darkest point of the year, the darkest corner of the house, so that we all know Jesus is our savior. That's why we have a tree.
Stop.
Okay. I'm saying that's what I'm going to do.
Stop. Listen.
And my family's going to think I'm smart.
Bro.
And I sound awesome. And it's true because I got it from Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson's wife tweeted out our last Jordan Peterson video.
They do watch her videos.
You got to tread lightly because she might see this and then be,
okay.
You know?
It's an all love. I absolutely love Jordan Peterson. And I love Tammy Peterson's testimony.
She's amazing.
You don't know what it is, but everyone's agreed on it. And a lot of your conservative virtues are things that everybody's already agreed on. And so when an intellectual comes along and says, justify that, you don't know what the hell to say. And then you can be picked apart. You know, well, isn't your ideal of marriage heterosexual, long-term, stable, child-centered couples, isn't that exclusionary? And
isn't that exclusionary?
Yeah, it was never meant to be inclusionary.
It was never meant to be inclusionary, bro.
Is inclusionary a word?
This is what I'm talking about by weaponized empathy.
Yeah.
Like there are certain things that are not, they're not supposed to be inclusionary.
Wow, you live in America and you have a border, huh? So that everyone knows where America, yeah, it's the point of having
So that's why you have locks on your door.
Yeah, the point of having a country is that you say, oh, this is our country, so that we can identify which country we're in.
Right.
Because we're not just, the whole world just isn't America.
Well, you think, well, exclusion, isn't that exclusionary? And isn't the exclusion wrong? Well, you think, well, exclusion, yeah, well, that's wrong. And well, I don't know. And then you're guilty. And it isn't because you're wrong. It's just that you don't know how to articulate that traditional value. And well, and that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. But that doesn't mean you're wrong. And the same thing applies on the profit front. It's like, it's hard to articulate why that's acceptable. Also, because it does seem like if you're generating profit, it's obviously the case that that can be used by you for narrow personal reasons, right? You can buy a yacht and fill it with supermodels and cocaine if you want. And that, but people don't. And most wealthy people in the United States, by the way, are like you. They're the owners of not immense businesses, small to moderate businesses, and they're very conservative in their consumerist habits and careful in their distribution of their resources. They're not like Hollywood hedonists, or the Wall Street psychopath types. Not that all Wall Street people are psychopath types, but the kind that are parodied in movies. You're people who are very careful with your capital and you live moderately. That's also a sign of that ethos, but it's hard for conservatives to articulate that. Doesn't mean you're wrong, and it doesn't mean that you should be guilty.
One of the ways you combat those kinds of things, if you don't have, number one, don't have to have an argument. You just have to be right and just keep moving.
Yeah.
But I don't have to defend. I don't have to enter into that conversation.
Listen how Jordan Peterson pushes back. And by the way, I've never heard Ramsey talk so little in this conversation. But listen how Jordan Peterson pushes back here.
Like, yeah, you're a nut, and I'm moving on.
Yeah,
but
partly we're in a situation where you probably do have to learn to articulate it, because what's happening is that central ethos, that traditional ethos, even voluntary exchange, it's under such vicious attack that if you don't learn to defend it and articulate it, it's going to be taken from you. And that probably means, I suspect that means that each of you is going to have to think to some degree about how to involve yourself in at least the local political landscape. It's like, what the school boards are doing, or maybe you don't and you should. I mean, these low-level political positions have been occupied by radical types, and the only real solution to that is to take them away and occupy them with people who have some sense. And the problem is you probably have something better to do. But it doesn't matter, because at the moment, if you abdicate that responsibility, then the radicals are going to take it, and then they're going to take what you have. That already happened in the universities.
Sheesh, man. Not only do we have to articulate our ethos, but be willing to go into the marketplace, be willing to go into these different institutions, because who are going to be the people that end up on a school board?
Lefties, the radicals.
The radicals. Interesting though, right?
That's crazy.
It's good.
He said,
one of my favorite passages is in Ephesians chapter 6, where the Apostle Paul writes that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the principalities of this unseen world. That could spook a lot of people out, because there is a spiritual world and there is a spiritual war. But what I love about that passage is he tells us to therefore put on the armor of God, helmet of salvation, the gospel of peace. And that is the inspiration for our latest collection, the Armor of God collection, with a custom cut and sew Armor of God jacket representing all the different patches that reflect the armor of God. Available for a limited time only, so go to blessgod.shop to get yours now.